Tonight on CTV, raw chicken in the dining halls causes student complaints and sickness.
And then therapists are being mentally affected by listening to other people's problems.
Finally, see if the CSU basketball teams are in any trouble as they near the end of their season.
All this and more starting on CTV right now.
Good evening, Rams. My name is JJ McKinney, filling in for Weston Hubbard.
And I'm Natalie Devereaux. Fort Collins Emergency Services responded to a fire at an apartment complex Wednesday morning. The fire occurred at Landmark Apartments, located off Hobbit Road. According to the firefighters at the scene, the fire was started within one of the apartments. The cause of the fire is currently unknown, with responders still investigating. No injuries were reported. However, the fire chief at the scene was looking for a place to shelter those affected. There is currently no updates on whether the affected members will be able to return to their apartments.
Having issues with your dining hall meals and the way they're cooked? Well, after CSU students complained about food conditions, it looks like you may not be the only one. After complaints about CSU's dining halls and their food preparations, concerns about dining hall safety have been brought into question, with some of the students voicing their disapproval.
An announcement in Corbett, I think, that people in that hall were just like a bunch of them were all getting food poisoning, probably from the foundry. So I don't know, it's just a little bit scary, I guess.
Concerns over food like raw chicken have been posted on social media, with students, faculty, and teachers alike voicing their concerns.
I feel like I have maybe seen something about that last semester at the beginning.
So far, there have only been a few instances of students being served raw chicken in the CSU dining halls. One case in August in Durrell, and the other one more recently in the Foundry. But Director of Residential Dining Services, Liz Porer, says that CSU's dining halls have multiple steps in place to prevent and report contaminated and raw food.
We do have to deal with the employee. Sometimes it's as easy as just retraining. Okay. You know, it's just like, can't do that. Here's the reasons why you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Here's what could happen if you continue to do that. And then obviously, most of the time it's retraining with either a chef in one of the units or a service.
Despite all of the concerns, reports of food contamination and raw food are low, with the Environmental Health Services finding nothing wrong with the dining hall's procedures after an inspection. Porer and CSU's dining halls insist that they are doing everything they can to keep CSU's dining halls safe. JJ McKinney, CTV Representatives News. of the CSU dining halls encourage students who have food complaints to report them to Housing and Dining Services right away.
Your student government is changing. Why is that, and how does that affect you? Reporter Weston Hubbard tells us more about this story.
Wait for patience, everyone.
Tonight was a busy night for ASCSU, the student government system for Colorado State University. Starting off the evening, members of ASCSU held an event called Desserts and Democracy, where they discussed an important topic, ranked choice voting.
So here's kind of how it could be, where we have the current ballot options you typically see are Democrat versus Republican with one choice. This is what a ranked choice voting ballot could look like.
While ranked choice voting was a huge part of the Desserts and Democracy tonight, there was a bigger issue to address within the ASCSU chambers tonight. That is Kyle Hill's resignation.
Well, the resignation is occurring due to, reasons such as like academic underperformance.
Kyle Hill was elected as Speaker of the ASCSU Senate at the end of the spring 2021 academic year. Earlier this week, he posted a video to his Instagram story discussing his resignation.
To my colleagues and the students of Colorado State University, during this time of year, 1 year ago, I had set my journey of being the student body Speaker of the Senate with this campaign promise, to serve the student bodies. However, I do not believe that I can effectively hold that promise in my current position.
In face of Kyle's resignation, members of the ASCSU had quite a lot to say on the matter.
So I think his resignation is the best thing that can happen with Senate at the moment. At the moment, Senate has been very chaotic. Former Speaker Hill has, unfortunately, not solved that chaos. So
I found myself not being able to fulfill all my duties as Speaker and schoolwork at the same time, because due to the time commitment both made, the impacts of that has been, I find to be very hard for me to continue with my role.
Some members did view Kyle's resignation in a different light, citing other reasons for his resignation.
The Senate session fell apart really in the beginning of the session. There were
various events that were very, very just deplorable, and questions about how to make the space more inclusive.
Succeeding Kyle will be Jackson Hunter, a former parliamentarian. Members were able to give their input on his promotion into the role as well.
I'm really optimistic for Jackson, Speaker Hunter being the speaker. He really knows all of the job duties of the speaker really well. He knows parliamentary procedure, and he's comfortable in this space enough to make sure that we are running smoothly and not harming anyone else.
I think that Jackson would make a very fine speaker. I'm looking forward to see what comes up with the Senate the rest of the term.
So, at least for stepping up into the speaker position, I feel very confident in facilitating a space that makes everyone feel comfortable, but not only feel comfortable and safe, but also something that we can get more stuff done.
Speaker Hunter officially took over the position last night and hopes to bring the Senate into a new era of succession.
We just want to be the most efficient we can while supplying a safe space and really make sure that ASCSU Senate is living up to its full potential.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As the ASCSU election cycle is kicking into full gear, you can expect to hear a lot of new names pop up for your student body in the near future.
32% of students who park on campus often start their day with a hectic search for a place to leave their car. It is no secret students have grievances with campus parking. From the cost of permits to the lack of spots, the school is aware of the dialogue surrounding parking, but says there is little to be done. CSU parking and transportation services are completely self-funded and therefore must collect revenue through permits and pay-to-park methods. They say only 11% of the funds come from ticketing. As for the limited parking space, there is virtually no room to expand because of how developed campus and surrounding areas already are. In many cases, new buildings have been constructed on top of parking lots, restricting space further. Parking Services faculty states they want to work with students through these troubles.
The business Stapled has issued an apology following a controversy last week. Wednesday, the manager on duty turned away Poudre School District educator and her 8 autistic students. After the event blew up on social media, the business is now trying to set things right. In their issued apology, a representative of the business discussed how they are here to support educators and students. They expressed their disappointment with the situation and personally invited the students back. However, the representative did not comment on the state of the manager's employment with the company. Hopefully the students can feel safe to go back and Staples can set an example for all businesses in Fort Collins.
Living in a pandemic for nearly 2 years now has certainly taken a toll on many people's mental health. Here to talk with us more about how people have been affected in these invisible ways is Hattie Williams. Hattie?
Thanks, JJ. As you said, living through the pandemic has certainly had negative effects on many people's mental health. A survey of the U.S. Census has found that there has been over a 30% increase in those reporting symptoms of anxiety or depression over the last 2 COVID-filled years. However, with the rise in these disorders also comes a rise in awareness about mental health, and has many individuals seeking out resources for help. CSU's Health Network provides services of all kinds, including therapy sessions. But this got me thinking, how are the therapists that help us affected by their jobs? CSU offers many different health services to students, including counseling. This is Adam John Aparicio, a therapist at CSU who has taken steps forward in helping students with their mental health. And while he's been counseling people for 9 years, it is anything but easy.
There are times that I've struggled with being in therapy mode. People will come to me who are my friends and family with dilemmas, and I'd like to support people, but sometimes I have to say like, hey, remember, I'm not your therapist. One of the big worries that my family and friends had was that I might take everyone's story home and it might be difficult for me to hold everyone's kind of sadness. I'll say that while people's stories impact me as a person, because I'm a human at the end of the day, going to school to become a therapist, really understanding what boundaries are, allows me to remind myself that I am just 1 hour, maybe every other week for a client, and I'm but a helper along the way.
Although being a therapist has its ups and downs, Aparicio still finds inspiration in the job.
I think a story that has really impacted me as a therapist in general is when I see people come to me when they feel like they're at their lowest. They remind themselves of their power. They remind themselves that they are resilient beings. Their mental health goes further than their 2, 3, 5 years here at CSU. Mental health is a consistent and lifelong journey. So I'd really like students to think about how mental health isn't just something that happens at the college level, but it will continue throughout your lifetime.
It was truly inspiring talking with Adam John and hearing about his journey as a therapist. It's nice to know that the people who work so hard to help us also take care of themselves. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Addie.
You know, I have to say, it's so great to go to a school that has so many resources for students, but then also has resources for those that are helping us.
Exactly, and I feel so many of us have struggles with mental health from time to time, so it's really inspiring and just really great that they have those services to help us.
Definitely, and finding those moments of positivity. And speaking of positivity, it's honestly great to hear about people who act as rays of sunshine through these darker times. But speaking of rays of sunshine, weather anchor Michelle Ellis is going to be coming up after the break to tell us if we're going to get more sun or more snow in the upcoming days. Michelle, what can we expect?
Well, Natalie, after that snowy day that we had yesterday, people can look forward to both warmer and cooler days coming up. Stay tuned after the break and I'll tell you exactly what to expect these different temperatures. I'll be right back.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back from the break. My name's Michelle Ellis, here to give you the weekly weather report. As we take a look into this evening, we're going to see that it's very clear skies this evening with a 1% cloud coverage and a very low chance of rain, about 5 miles an hour, and light winds coming in from the northeast, about 3 miles an hour, and cooling temperatures about 23 degrees. And we're going to be seeing those cooler temperatures tonight, and that's partially due to that cold front that moved in last night. Yesterday, a winter storm began to move its way in across Colorado, bringing hours worth of snowfall, which triggered winter storm warnings across the state. And this cold front came in strong and dumped several inches of snow throughout Colorado. But it quickly moved past and is now headed east across the country. With that, we will have a couple of days of sunshine until our next cold front moves in on Monday. Now, with that cold front moving in, we're going to see that those temperatures really cool down, especially in the mountain range, with temperatures getting below zero in Gunnison. But mostly pretty cool temperatures we're going to see in Alamosa at 5 degrees, Telluride at 11. It warms up to in Grand Junction about 24, but again cools down in Craig at about 8 degrees. Now, as we move into the eastern plains, we're going to see that it warms up ever so slightly, but still pretty chilly, about low 20s into the high teen range. But tomorrow, it should warm up just a bit. We're going to see that those temperatures are going to warm up, so it won't be as chilly tonight. But tomorrow, we're going to see mostly mid-40s down the I-25 corridor, and it warms up in Pueblo to mid-50s. Now in the eastern plains, we're going to see low 50s, where it warms up in Lamar about 54 degrees. But as we move into the mountain range, we're going to see that it does cool down again, about 30s in Vail, higher 30s in Craig, and then low 30s in Gunnison and Telluride, and then it warms up into the high 40s in Grand Junction. Now in Fort Collins, we're going to see that it's 46 tomorrow, but it is going to cool down again tomorrow evening. We'll see in tomorrow's forecast about 46 degrees during the day, cooling down to about 21 degrees in the evening. But it's going to be mostly sunny sky with a very low chance of rain, about 3% chance, and some slight winds coming from the south and southeast, about 5 miles an hour, and the sunset setting about 5:38 in the evening. Now, as for the rest of the week, we're going to see those temperatures again like Friday and Saturday. Sunny skies. And we're going to see that it's going to be high 40s on Friday, low 50s on Saturday, and low 50s on Sunday. Now on Monday, we're going to see that cold front move in. And with that cold front, it's going to bring a 55% chance of snow and cooler temperatures with it, about 27 as a high and -3 as a low. And that's going to carry on into Tuesday with it even getting colder. And there's going to be no sun with that. It's going to cool down about 12 degrees, getting down to as low as -4 degrees. Well, Rams, that's all the weather you need to know for the next few days, but don't go away yet. After the break, Natalie Devereaux takes over my job to explain how climate change is affecting college students' favorite drink, beer. That's next on CTV.
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. Teachers are expressing frustrations in Poudre School District after having to use personal time off to pay for COVID leave. Since the start of the academic year in August of 2021, nearly 400 cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed among the teachers and staff. This has caused those teachers to feel like they're being treated unfairly. Teachers expressed worries over their PTO not being able to cover the full extent of their quarantine. Some teachers even thought about coming back early to avoid losing pay for the days they would miss. A few teachers reported they were taking care of their sick families and began a debate over helping family or getting money. There is one way to receive supplemental support from the school district. However, there is a catch. A staff member attempting to receive said support must have used less than 80 hours of time off prior to January 1st of 2021. From there, the school district would supplement the amount of hours until the 80 hours is reached. As of now, teachers still remain frustrated with the school district, but no immediate plans for change are in action.
Fort Collins' population is increasing at a rapid rate of nearly 2% a year, and moving into the city with these new residents is bad cell phone service. Although poor cell coverage has been a long-standing issue, it is only getting worse as Fort Collins grows. Over half of the city does not have enough cell phone towers, leading to inconsistent service. Several residents have reported dropped 911 calls. Unfortunately, there is no simple fix. The city's land use and zoning codes make it difficult to build cell towers. On average, towers are 50 feet tall, and city codes state they must fit the context of the surrounding area. That means if there are no tall buildings, there are no towers. The city is looking into multiple options to remedy this expanding issue, such as mounting cell sites on roofs, altering regulations, and using public art to conceal towers.
The city of Fort Collins is planning to pull the community out of the COVID-19 pandemic by using federal funds. After listening to community members who expressed concerns about maintaining their health while working, the Fort Collins government has created their Recovery COVID Plan to focus on health, equity, and community resilience, economic recovery, and environmental issues. They will use the remaining $19 million allocated from the federal government to help people who are struggling to find stable housing, having trouble maintaining small businesses, or those who cannot work from home. The specific details of the recovery plan will be voted on in March.
Colorado's 43rd governor, Jared Polis, announced his re-election campaign this Tuesday. In his tweet revealing the news, he called Colorado America's greatest state, and said he wouldn't stop working to build a better place for generations to come. Polis is a member of the Democratic Party, and a successful re-election would mean Colorado will have not seen a Republican governor in over 15 years.
Climate change has been a hot topic for many years now. We often hear about the large impacts it could have on our lives, but what about the smaller things, such as beer?
In the age of COVID, businesses have changed what they've done in the past to survive the present.
But New Belgium is looking to the future and what problems may lie ahead.
Businesses represent a massive portion of environmental pollution.
You don't have a climate plan, you don't have a business plan, because these threats are coming to all of our supply chains.
Agriculture is a huge aspect of brewing beers that is being hit hard by climate-related issues.
This past year represented the worst barley crop in history.
Water supplies are also in danger, especially from wildfires. In 2020, the Cameron Peak Fire blazed across Colorado, affecting water sources.
There is a foreseeable future, and not that far away, if we don't attend to climate change, where we might not have water for beer, or if we do, it tastes like smoke.
To raise awareness around climate change, New Belgium released 2 beer campaigns, Torched Earth Ale and Snow Point of Return.
Kind of forecast what supplies might be available to us in a climate-ravaged future, and we brewed a beer with it. And the beer doesn't taste that great, and that's the point.
We're concerned that very few cities that have historically hosted the Winter Olympics would ever be able to host again under climate change being realized. And so we wanted to brew a beer that helped to speak to the way that the Winter Games are at risk.
The brewery hopes to inspire a push for environmental action.
It's hard to think about what climate change will do until you have something you can touch and feel, right? And you can understand the consequences with your own senses.
New Belgium is also taking their own steps to help the environment. In 2020, they released the first certified carbon-neutral beer in the U.S. They have also pledged to become completely carbon neutral by 2030.
As you know, many businesses have been struggling due to supply shortages during the pandemic, and the Girl Scouts of Colorado are no exception. There are currently 3.5 million packages of Girl Scout cookies in the state, but split between 15,000 girls selling them, there aren't as many flavors to go around. 4 out of the 9 flavors offered are in shorter supply than normal, which means you may not be able to get that box of Tagalongs and Thin Mints. Girl Scout cookies are pretty great, but honestly, I don't know about you, but I can't stand Thin Mints.
Okay, I have to say, when I was a kid, they were my absolute favorite. I feel like I've matured out of them a little bit, and the lemon ones are where it's at.
Fair enough, the lemon ones are so good, just can't stand Thin Mints, I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing for it. But if you want to know more about how supply shortages are impacting the Girl Scout troops, Natalie will have more information about this next week.
Yes, I will, JJ. And with that, Rams, that's all that we have for you on news updates. Coming up after the break, Leah Cackowski tells us if the CSU men's basketball team can continue their good luck on the court, or if they'll fall short at the end of their season. Stay tuned.
Queen is just my everything. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
How's it going, Rams? My name is Leah Cackowski, and I am so excited to be here as your Thursday night sports anchor. So, after New Mexico's upset dub against Wyoming on Tuesday night, the Rams now control their own destiny to win or share that regular season title in the Mountain West. But with other squads like Boise State right on their tails, this conference is truly up for grabs when it comes to men's hoops. I'll fill you in on all the details in this tight Mountain West race and much, much more here on Thursday Night Sports, which starts right now. Before we get into this conference chase that's really heating up, let's first take a look at the upcoming matchup for CSU men's hoops. The one after first, of course, their battle going on right now against the New Mexico Lobos. Let's stop things real quick to take a look into that one. CSU is currently up 16-17, with David Roddy having 9 points and Thomas Moore having 3. I mean, it's still pretty early on, so we're just going to have to see how this one shakes out for the Rams. But okay. No matter how that one ends up, the Rams will still continue their week-long trip this week, facing off against the UNLV Rebels down in Vegas this Saturday at 6. And needless to say, it should be an exciting one to say the least. The Green and Gold took that massive L when they battled the Rebs the last time out, in Moby of all places, so the road squad should definitely know what to expect this second time around. And with that in mind, let's take a look at the opposition real quick. The Runnin' Rebels come into this one at 15-11 overall and 7-6 in conference play after taking down Fresno State in a close one just last night. And like their record shows, this team is right at about average when it comes to the conference standings, with many ups and many downs over the course of the winter. But even with this inconsistency, UNLV has shown to bounce back from their blunders and pick themselves right off the mat where they have to play against top competition, which includes squads like Boise State and Wyoming. And with most of their dubs being at home, thanks to a terrible 3-6 marks on the road, all of this combines to mean that they'll surely start Saturday night off with some high energy, especially after defeating the green and gold at their home base just a few weeks ago. But while things may be stacked against CSU in this matchup, I feel like the Rams will come into this one with some fire of their own. And here's why. With their recent win against Mountain West leading Boise State on Sunday, this crew is clearly ready to take on any team at any place. Currently riding a 5-game winning streak since that uncharacteristic loss of the Rebs in January, which is why I expect the green and gold to take that same energy into this one, assuming they can take care of business tonight, of course. Back when they last played, this CSU squad was not prepared for the outcome of what they thought was an easy dub, with the Rams unable to stop super senior Bryce Hamilton, which allowed him to go for a ridiculous 42 on CSU. But while number 13 was able to dominate from the field, it was almost unnoticed that Isaiah Stevens also carried his team on the other side, going for a career-high 30 points and 8 rebounds for the green and gold in a losing effort. Hopefully for Ram fans, the outcome will be much different this time around, and we'll continue to see that growing momentum for CSU. But as always, we're just going to have to wait and see. And of course, with all of that talk about CSU and UNLV in mind, it should remind the Rams that no team in this conference should be underestimated. Clearly, everyone can truly beat anyone, as it's been shown time and time again throughout the course of this season. And speaking of the Mountain West Conference, the race for a regular season title is coming down to the wire, with one win or one loss possibly being the deciding factor who takes home this honor home. So with that being said, let's take a look at how things are shaping up as of now. Even with their late L against the Rams on Sunday, the Broncos still sit at first place in the conference, followed by Wyoming in second, and then finally the Rams in third. Both Wyoming and CSU have a total of 10 wins in conference play so far this year, while Boise is one above them with 11. And all of them have some unexpected losses within the league, to say the least. As I just mentioned on Tuesday, the Pokes had an embarrassing loss to New Mexico down at the Pit, who currently sit at the number 9 spot. And surprisingly, these little upsets aren't out of the ordinary for leading programs in the conference. Boise State and Wyoming have both lost to one another, and the Broncos are also fresh off of an L to CSU just this past Sunday in an insane overtime thriller. So as you can see with the numbers, the regular season title is completely up in the air as of late, and it probably come down to the final week of the schedule to see who ends up taking it. And obviously, with this conference race coming how it affects each of these squads' March Madness tournament odds. As of now, the Mountain West looks stronger than it has been in a long, long time, with Colorado State being ranked 26th in the overall NCAA standings, the Pokes at 34, and Boise State at 35, making the chances of there being multiple at-large bids pretty likely. And I mean, while powerhouse conferences like the Pac-12, SEC, and the Big Ten do usually hold most of those extra slots in the Mountain West, they have an extremely good season. But of course, it's always ideal to get that automatic bid from winning the Mountain West tournament, which is going to be a challenge for these teams to accomplish. But I guess someone has to, right? Overall, I think if the Rams keep up their high intensity both tonight and on Saturday, they should be more than prepared to face teams like Wyoming and Boise State down the road. As you've seen throughout the many weeks here at CTV, the Green and Gold has had an immense amount of support from the CSU community, with 3 sellouts in Moby already this year, and definitely a few more to come, which obviously greatly contributes to this squad potential push for a little. And regardless, all I know is that I've loved watching the Rams compete so far, so let's just hope they can take their talent even farther come postseason and making us Ram fans proud. And with that, Rams, that's all the news that I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Be sure to tune in for Monday for another edition of Monday Night Sports. Stay safe and have a wonderful weekend.